What a dog carrying its own shit taught me about parenting. Okay, ladies. Yes, you heard me correctly. I was talking about a dog carrying a bag of crap in its mouth. What it taught me about parenting. So, if you haven't already, you need to head on over to Instagram and check out day 1 to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 of the 5 days of the Good Enough Parent Challenge, or Unchallenge as I call it. So many great conversations and questions happening behind the scenes about parenting, which kicked off the opening of the cart to my Understanding Your Child's Behavior mini course, which you can now find at momisincontrol.com/sign up. So this is a 6-module DIY course that will transform your parenting. This is all of my wisdom bottled up, and it's about the strategy and action and tools mixed with this mindset on what works for you, what works for your children. So my whole mission is to help you feel in control of your parenting. Sometimes there's just things that we cannot control, but oftentimes there are things we can control within ourselves, our thoughts, our stories, our perceptions about our relationship and our parenting. And I don't think it's always about us that needs to change. It's about understanding that your children are expressing something to you through their behavior. So go check it out. It is $197. That's it. $197. You have lifetime access. The doors are going to be open for another week or so. So I'm also gifting you, for those who sign up for this round, my energetic time management workshop. So this is an additional $297 value that I'm giving you for free. And I'm also throwing in 2 live group coaching rounds that I will be announcing in November. But if you can't make them live, you can definitely join. We will have like a little Q&A where you can submit your questions and I will answer them. But I'll be doing 2 live calls as well for this round. So for $197, not only do you get lifetime access to the Understanding Your Child's Behavior mini course, you're going to get lifetime access to my energetic time management, those 2 live rounds. So head on over, 2 live group coaching Q&As. So head on over to momisincontrol.com/sign up. All right, now back to this dog who was carrying its own shit. I'm sure if you've been listening to me long enough, you know exactly where I'm going with this, right? I was driving down the street and just saw a couple walking their dog, and I'm like, what is in this dog's mouth? And I realized it was carrying its own poop bag. It was full. And the dog is just sitting there, holding its shit in its mouth, just continue walking. And I was like, yes, good for you, dog owners. You have taught your dog to carry its own shit. Not only do you feed this dog, you give it love, you groom it, you take care of it, you bring it out for walks, it can clean up after itself. I know the dog didn't scoop that poop up and put it in the bag. So why do we do this in parenting? Why do we feed our children, clothe our children, house our children, freaking do all these things for our kids? We pick up their shit, we wipe their ass, and then we carry it. We're carrying all of their emotional baggage because we haven't been taught. How often do you see a dog carrying its own poop bag? Not very often. And maybe you would say, oh, that's impossible, Heather. That's impossible. I would never see a dog doing that. Well, don't say something is impossible unless you have tried and tried and tried yourself. So when I think about parenting, I look at the modern culture of parenting, and there's a lot of imposter syndrome. There's a lot of lack mindset and limiting beliefs that people have around parenting. that it needs to be overwhelming, that you need to be chronically fatigued, that you need to be busy, that your children will never listen to you, that you have to scream and yell to get their attention, that you need to just be overwhelmed and chronically stressed out and never have any time or space for you. And that is 100% not the truth. The truth is we've bought into this culture that we need to carry our kids' shit, that our children can never feel uncomfortable, that our children can never feel fear because we're actually incredibly uncomfortable with their big emotions. We're actually incredibly uncomfortable about helping or allowing our children to solve their own problems. Someone asked me on Instagram the other day, okay, my kids are at each other all the time, fighting with each other. And I'm like, stop, stop, stop. What do I do, Heather? I have 3 boys. There's a reason why my vehicle has 3 rows. I put 2 kids in the middle and 1 in the back. That has been the greatest investment in my parenting, is having a vehicle that has 3 rows. Why? Because they're just like wild animals. It's like 2 animals that don't get along, and there's this alpha complex, and they just fight. It happens in my house every single day. And I watch it, child 1 picks on child 2, maybe child 3 and 2 get along a little bit. There's always someone picking on somebody else. And here's the best, not only parenting advice that was given to me from people from what I call the elderly, the wise, but I look up to a lot of my friends who have been there, done that. And they're like, Heather, pick your battles. It's not your monkey. What is it called? Not your monkey, not your circus. Not my battle to pick. So what I started doing, instead of saying, I'm not going to get involved. So I would watch my children fight and argue. And the first thing they would say is, Mom, so-and-so picked on me. And I'd say, thank you for sharing. Because I wanted to empower my children how to solve their own problems. So why not do this at home? Why not do this with your own family? And unless you have a very aggressive child, and what I mean by that is a child who has severe aggressive tendencies where maybe there's outbursts or there's been a diagnosis, that's different. But if you know your child is in harm's way, you remove that child from the scenario. So my middle son, when he was younger, would be severely aggressive. His anxiety would manifest tremendously. So what I would do is when he was picking on one of his other brothers, I had to remove the other children from the scenario to kind of quote unquote protect them. But as they gotten older and I used my motherly instincts, my human instincts, I would assess the situation and say, they're not going to die here. And I go, you can pick your own battles. And they're like, you're not going to do anything about it? I'm like, no, I'm not a referee. So I stopped being a referee in my parenting, and I will tell you, it probably took 2 to 5 times. And guess what? They started solving their own problems instead of waiting for me to rescue them. So when we bring it back to this dog carrying its own bag of shit, I think this is a perfect example of children taking responsibility for their actions, taking responsibility for the natural consequences. You pick on your brother, you pick on your sister, and they punch you. What else did you expect? What else did you expect? We are not always going to be there to protect our children. And then we have to deal with that big emotion. And so when we're fixing and rescuing and jumping for everybody else and saying, what about me? What do I need? Who do I want to be? That is when we take our power back. That is when we start to feel in control. That is when we begin to feel energized and say, not my monkey, not my circus. Focus on your own circus, and your whole life will change. Hey guys, as the podcast has grown over the years, so have people asking me for advice, tips, resources, and products. So what I've decided to do is to sponsor, or not sponsor, but advertise a few products here and there that are near and dear to my heart that have transformed my life. So I want to talk about Polar for a little bit. Polar. Polar contacted me a few months back and said, and I'm going to be completely honest with you, probably too honest. They said, hey, Heather, we want to send you a watch. And I was like, why the fuck do you want to send little old Heather Chauvin a watch of the Mom is in Control podcast? I am not a fitness guru. And they said, well, that's exactly why we want to share it with you. We want you, average, everyday woman who is just here to try to feel, content in her own body and mind, showing her that you have control over how you want to feel. So they sent me this watch and I was like, okay, what's the difference between this watch and maybe, I don't know, an iWatch? I'm not big into this technology. And it wasn't until I actually got on the phone with them when I said, listen, I am not going to advertise a product that I haven't fallen in love with. So lo and behold, I get this watch, I put it on. I'm like, okay, it's your everyday digital watch. Like, what the heck is the difference? But this Polar watch has recovery insights with nightly recharge, personalized training with FitSpark, and sleep quality insights and sleep plus stages. So what the fuck is that? So here's my point. I had to wear this watch at night, and every night, based on the workout that I did that day, and also my quality of sleep, it would tell me the next day what type of workout I could do. So this is great for the ambitious go-getter who is always, I don't know about you, but I used to be this all or nothing mentality where if I didn't work out 5 days in a row, I was a failure. So now I can actually see how my body is recovering. And the nice thing about this, when it came at the right time, is because I've really been working on my hormonal health too. So if you are not already paying attention to your quality of sleep, then I highly suggest you put the Polar, Polar watch on your holiday wish list. It has been a game changer for me to be able to have those stats, to look at them in the morning and to understand, well, maybe this is why I'm not feeling amazing. So looking at my hormones and also paying attention to the quality of sleep not only has allowed my body to recover better, but it's allowed my mind to recover better, which makes me emotionally stronger and less reactive during the day with the kids. So go check it out, Polar, Polar.com, and let me know what you think.